أحب الوفاء بشر.
You're listening to Rise and Shine on Radio Al-Ansar with myself, Faisal M.J. Suleiman. The National Water and Sanitation Master Plan indicates the demand for water will exceed available supply by 2030 if preventative measures are not taken. 7 of the 13 major systems in the country are expected to fall short if the capacity is not increased. Experts are now warning that day zero may come much sooner. We have online with us Interwaste Director of Business Development and Marketing, Kate Stubbs. Ms. Stubbs, good morning to you and thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Good morning, Faisal, and good morning to your listeners.
Can you provide us with an overview of South Africa's current water situation and the factors which are contributing to the water scarcity issue?
Yeah, I think what you just said is indicating that our water systems and our water treatment works are in a very concerning state, and the Department of Water and Sanitation and some of the reports are showing that our water is under threat, and there are a few reports that are published. The Blue Drop Watch report, which looks at the quality of our drinking water and water treatment systems. And the latest report is showing a diminished quality in our water, which is very concerning. And then the Green Drop report, which measures the status of our wastewater treatment works, so those are mainly our sewage treatment works. Mm-hmm. There's over 56% of them are in a poor to critical state. Mm. And, that has a double impact for us because those systems are then creating further pollution into our already diminishing water sources. And then I think we see it all around the country, lack of investment in infrastructure, leaking, vandalism. So it's not a pretty picture. It's a very concerning picture, and I think the point that we need to all realize is we need to change our attitude towards our water, how we treat our water.
So the problem, as having listened to you, the problem is not natural, but the problems are more with infrastructure and things like that. That's what's causing it, because there seems to be an abundant supply of water naturally. There's no drought situation or anything, but it's our treatment plants, etc., which are failing us.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, because we are seeing the impact of climate change, and we've seen the Eastern Cape in severe drought, and then KZN more recently in severe floods, and both of them affect our water systems. The drought, there is no water, and the floods damage our water systems as well as contaminate them. But yes, I think at the moment where we stood, there is enough water, but we have polluted it and not looked after it. So the longer term climate change is having an impact because we're seeing change in weather patterns, and our current systems have been set up according to historical weather systems, we're catchment areas, and we're seeing shifts in that. So it needs not only urgent repair and fixing, but investment for future changes.
Now, are there any plans to maybe tap into alternative water resources, recycle water, or other innovative technologies?
Most definitely. I think that's one of the actions that's already taking place and needs to be accelerated. For instance, just accessing, so we talk about diversifying our water mix. Most of our water we're getting from our rivers and dams, but there's certainly the opportunity to access more groundwater across the country. And from our perspective, from a waste management perspective, liquid waste, or we call it effluent, is banned from landfill disposal. That happened in 2019. So you've seen, and that type of legislative change puts positive pressure on the system to look for innovative technologies. And most wastewater, and when I talk wastewater, it's not only sewage. Wastewater is any water used in an industrial process for cleaning or manufacturing. Most wastewater can be repurposed for reuse. So there's lots of different types of processes and technology which is able to do that. And that's really exciting. And I think lots of corporates with big ESG and sustainable goals now are starting to conserve water, invest in effluent treatment plants. We call them effluent treatment plants, that if they're big water users, that they install on site, or companies like ours have processes and systems that can reuse that water. And you can treat it back to potable status. That could be expensive, but in most cases, at least treat it back to safe for safe reuse back into a process or the environment.
And, you did mention that climate change seems to have an impact on our water conditions. To what extent is climate change contributing to the water scarcity issue in South Africa, and how are these changes being addressed?
Yeah, so South Africa is a water scarce country already. I think we're in the top 20 in the world. And sometimes we may forget that we have been quite privileged with our water sources, historically. And I think we are all starting to actually see and feel the effects of climate change. I mean, 2023 is the hottest year, I think, now recorded in history. That's having an impact. We're seeing dams drying up. I spoke about the changes in weather patterns. So where our rainfall is happening, all these extreme weather patterns of either extreme drought or extreme flooding. So what's being done about that? Probably not enough. It does need more strategic long-term planning. But probably what it has done is accelerate our awareness, a general awareness of the importance of planning for future events. And let's be honest, we've already had an electricity crisis for 16 years. But electricity you can manufacture, you can make, but water you can't.
Absolutely.
And when you have no water in your home, it's dire. I mean, we need water to live. So we need to, what climate change for me is doing is bringing this urgent focus and need to protect our water. And that starts with all of us. We can't sit back and hope our municipalities are going to solve that problem.
Absolutely. And given the current trajectory, what urgent actions are recommended to avert or mitigate the scenario?
So I think the urgent actions come across the board. I think from a government municipal level, there needs to be pressure. We need to make sure they start fixing, maintaining our systems and our infrastructure. I'll give you an example. In Johannesburg, in Gauteng, 35% of our clean drinking water that's currently produced for us goes missing, leaks into the system. I mean, that's a huge amount of water. I mean, it's almost criminal. So we need to fix leaks in our homes, fix leaks in our systems. But also, I think as South Africans, we're fairly, we probably don't respect our water as much as we should. You know, we wash our cars with water. Many of our sewage systems run off fresh water. So I think we individually need to start protecting our water in our homes. I think we're seeing certainly a lot happening in business. And just that sort of general education and awareness needs to happen all around. Interesting, which some people may not join the dots, but managing our waste more effectively is critical because waste not being disposed of, typically they could end up, in our waterways and create more pollution. So managing our waste more effectively is also critical, protecting our water systems. But then all the general stuff at home, turn off the tap and brushing your teeth, make sure to shower, invest in using grey water systems. So there's a lot we can do across the board as an individual, in business and government.
Kate, I want to thank you for joining me on the program this morning. But before I bid you farewell, I'm sure you have a message for our listeners.
Yeah, and it's even a message to myself. I think, I don't know how we do it, but please, every day, I think every time, if you have access to fresh running water, just be grateful for it and start thinking of how you can protect it and what you as an individual can do to help protect our precious water resources.
Thank you so much for joining me on the program this morning, Kate Stubbs, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you again in future programs. All the best to you.
Thank you. All the best.
Thanks. We spoke to Interwaste Director of Business Development and Marketing, Kate Stubbs, and she spoke to us about the current water situation in South Africa, which does not look too which looks rather bleak if we do not take the necessary measures to start saving water, to start using water quite efficiently and, of course, intelligently and sparingly as well. Let's also make use of our excess water and direct wastewater to the right channels. A very important point that she made was that don't even leave a waste lying around, because that makes its way into the rivers, into the dams, etc., and that into the drains, and that causes the contamination of the water as well.